Good morning, students. I am By-Basavaraja R C, your science teacher. Title Paris Higher Primary School, JSR Extension 6th class, Chitradurga. Welcome back to online classes. Today we will discuss about 9th standard 2nd chapter, Is matter around us pure? Today we will discuss about separating the components of a mixture. The component of a heterogeneous mixture can be separated by a simple methods like a picking, the sieving and filtration, etc. Sometimes the special techniques are used to separate the components of mixtures like evaporation, centrifugation, decantations, sublimations, centrifugations, chromatography and distillation and a fractional distillations. The first one is evaporations. In this method is used for separating the volatile components like solvents from a non-volatile components solute by heating the mixtures. For example, the ink is mixed of a dye and water. If some ink is heated in a dish, the water evaporates and the dye is left in the dish. Similarly, we can separate a mixture of salt and water or sugar and water by evaporation method. We will do in a simple activity. We take a burner and stand and a wire gauge and a dish and mixture of a salt and water. The mixture of salt and water is poured into the dish and lightly heated through the help of the burner. Next, the lightly heated, the water is evaporated and the salt is remains. Next one is centrifugation method. The method of separating the denser particle and the lighter particle from a mixture by using a centrifuging machines is called a centrifugation method. For example, if we take some milk in a centrifuge machines and spin it rapidly, the cream separates from the milk because the cream is less dense than the milk. Next one is decantation using a separating funnels. This method is used for separating a mixtures of immiscible liquids. The liquids separate into different layers depending on their densities. For example, if we take a mixture of kerosene oil and water in a separating the funnel, it forms a separate layers of a soil and water. The water can be separated by opening the stopcock. After the water flows out the stopcock can be closed. The images shows we take the funnel stand and funnel. We take kerosene and water and lightly flow the water and then kerosene and then stop the stop clock. We collect the water and separate a kerosene and water. Next one is sublimations. This method is used to separate a mixture of a sublimal the components from a non-sublimal components by heating the mixtures. For example, if a mixture of ammonium chloride and common salt is heated, the ammonium chloride the sublimes and can be the cooled and solidified and collected the salt is left the behind. Next one is chromatography. This method we use to separate the colored components for a liquid by using a filter paper or a blotting papers. It means the chromo means color, graphy means separation and color separations. For example, put a drop of ink the near one end of the strip of a filter paper and dip the end of a paper in a test tube containing water. Ink is a mixture of two or more color components. The component which is more soluble in water rises the faster and get separated. Next one is distillation method. This method is used for separating a mixture of a miscible liquids by boiling the mixtures and cooling the condensing the vapors. And simple distillations is used for a separating a mixture of two miscible liquids having a sufficient difference in their boiling points. For example, if a mixture of a acetone and water is heated in a distillations apparatus, the acetone, which has a lower boiling point than water, and water first boils and cools and a condense and is separated from the water. Next one is fractional distillation. It is used for separating a mixture of two or more immiscible liquids whose the difference in boiling points is less than 25 kilo. Next, the apparatus used for a fractional distillation is similar to that used for a simple distillation. The expect that a fractionating columns is fitted between the distillation flask and a condenser. The fractionating columns has the glass beads which increase the surface for the vapors to cool and condense. The fractional distillations is used for separating the components for a petroleum and separating the gases from air, etc. Next, separation of components of air. Air is a mixture of gases. The components of air that can be separated by a fractional distillations. The air is compressed by the increasing the pressure and cooled by decreasing the temperature to get a liquid air. The liquid air is then allowed to warm up slowly in the fractional distillations column. Then the components separate at a different height depending on their different boiling points. First one is the air. This is the flow chart. The air is the compressed and cooled by increasing the pressure and decreasing temperature. The air is converted into a liquid air. Then the allowed to warm up slowly in fractional distillations column. The liquid air is converted into the gases get separated at a different heights. First one boiling point. In oxygen 183 degrees centigrade and argon 186 degrees centigrade and nitrogen is 196 degree centigrade. Next one is purification of solids by crystallizations. The crystallization is the process of obtaining a pure solid in the form of a crystals from its solutions. For example, by crystallization we can obtain the pure copper sulfate from its solutions. Dissolve about 5 gram of copper solution in minimum amount of water. Filter the solution to remove the impurities. Evaporate the solution in a china dish to get a saturated solution and cover the solution with a filter paper and allow to it cool. The pure copper sulfate crystals are formed. The first one is impure copper sulfate. The second one image shows the pure copper sulfate crystals. Thank you students. This chapter was completed.